Hey, good evening, folks. I'm just waiting for the rest of the crew. Tonight is January 28th, and here goes another 2 minutes of just me. Oh, yes. Okay, so maybe that was just 30 seconds of just me. Hello. Did we get everybody back?
Mm-hmm. Hi, back.
Yay! Have you been busy with school?
No, not really. I'm only taking 12 credits. I normally take 24.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, I'm totally chill. I went, like, hiking today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
I'm in a great mood. I've just been, like, getting my life back together and, like, not hanging out as much.
Hike, bro.
Mm.
Yeah,
How have you
I
been?
haven't hung out for a while either.
Let me broadcast first, and then it should be it.
We can go
Get
live.
ready, and we're going live. 5. No, I can't count that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of Mobile Web Dev on Air, the web show for mobile enthusiasts and developers. My name is Carmeline, and my co-host tonight is
Mike Corbett.
there you go.
Plus Mike Corbett.
Plus
you
Mike
will.
Corbett.
I'm the mobile enthusiast piece of this puzzle, and Carm's the web dev piece of the puzzle. Did you want to open the show more, or did you want me to?
No, we keep going, but I would also
Okay.
like to introduce our panelists for tonight.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Did you want to introduce, or do you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start left to right. We have, of course, Carm. And then Carter Gibson. You want to tell a little bit about yourself, or anything you do?
Yeah,
I know
sure.
Plug your site, please.
My site is my Google Plus page. Circle me.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm a college student. Just finished up my marketing degree, working on my media arts degree right now.
Wow. I think we're getting feedback, and I'm not sure.
Oh, I think that's
think
an
Victor's
airplane.
got feedback.
I did it.
Yeah. Victor had a little bit of feedback from an airplane. I guess that's the fun of Hangouts. But the rest, what were you saying about your media?
So I'm pursuing my second bachelor degree in media arts, and I just kind of blog on here about like the human experience and try to be as real as possible, kind of analyzing public personas and what people post and everything like that. That's my deal.
That's awesome. I'm going to go with next. I might mess up your name. Is that Matthias or Matthias?
Matthias.
Matthias. Okay. Just like the developer or the designer of Android. Perfect. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a computer science grad student at Johns Hopkins University, and my main focus is high-performance computing, parallel processing on clusters and graphics cards and things like that.
Wow.
So I've played with the Tegra 3 and the Tegra 2, even though they're not really parallel processing platforms, but you can still do some things on them.
But there's some jealous people of you. A lot of people want that on their tablets. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll be. I think. Well, I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, or later period. But I think you'd be able to help me out in my argument of some things. But we'll talk about that later. And then Stefan, want to tell us a little about yourself, or Steven?
My name's Steven. I'm from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Mostly I'm just slacking off on Google Plus these days.
And Victor, we muted you. I don't know if you're back yet or not.
Yeah, I'm back. My name is Victor Goff, and I'm a mentor on RubyLearning.com. That's their blog, and they have a free online tutorial there, and we conduct courses. Some are paid and some are free.
Oh, that's really cool, too. I have a lot of Ruby questions. I know between you and Carm we should get a lot of answers today. So that's going to be really cool on that subject as well. I think I keep trying different ways of opening up the show and doing kind of different things. But I think I'm going to start this week by just kind of, what have you guys noticed or seen this week, or what have you been really excited about? I mean, by asking you guys, I can kind of get a semi-grasp of what's going on the streams or what people might be interested in. So just kind of, you don't really have to take a turn, but don't talk over each other for sure. But kind of, is there anything that stood out to anybody over the week or over the month at all? And that's just in tech, news, web, development, anything.
Oh, mine would be the CEO changes for RIM.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's a really cool subject. I mean, we can start there if we want to. Everybody's heard, or not heard maybe, but RIM used to have 2 CEOs. Kind of unheard of, kind of strange, but I guess it was working for a while. However, in some cases, you'd see that one would step down and the other one would succeed, or they'd take minor roles. But in this instance, both kind of stood down. It was kind of like neither of you feels like you can compete without the other, or what's going on here? So they kind of hired, I think it was the CFO as the CEO, or just one of the members along that way. If there's people listening in the stream, and you can tell me, I'd love to know.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? I mean, it's kind of odd.
I mean, I don't think nothing's gonna change. I think their chipsets aren't gonna be ready until the mid-set of this year. 10 isn't coming out until like holiday 2012, and I would honestly expect another delay after that. And we don't even know how many devices they're planning to release. So when you look at like how much cash they have on hand, it's about like $2 billion mixed with Microsoft's $50 billion, and on top of that Apple and then Samsung. I just don't think REM can compete anymore. I think that the biggest place that they should be focusing on is less so here and more so the international market, specifically India.
Yeah, that's a good point. For one thing, I mean, they need something extra. I mean, to do something, and with Nokia coming stateside with Microsoft, I mean, that's a very good chance that they could that we could see them move into an international market or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to be dead.
Yeah, I would say they're still more or less doomed. I think I'm really interested in what's going to happen with Nokia, because they are still, I believe, the largest phone maker in general, not smartphone. And I mean, I think RIM really needs to focus on some sort of an operating system. They're just lagging behind in just about everything. So, I mean, even though they've announced that their new OS, whatever, I don't know, BlackBerry OS
QNX 10?
10? Is it 10?
I think they're just calling it BlackBerry OS 10.
It's just BlackBerry 10.
Got a lot of things going away from them, or whatever.
They've been saying that they'll have support to run Android apps, which could give them an upper hand over Microsoft, but we'll see. It really depends on what they're actually going to...
That might save them, actually, if they do have the ability to run Android apps.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the main problems is that they've been saying that, and their tablet was supposed to support that. So it's kind of like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think what's doubly funny is that their own investors suggested that they sell either their whole company or parts of it, and that's the better option. And I honestly think that before they become completely irrelevant, that they should just suck it up and do it. I mean, their market share right now is at like what, 8%, 12%?
I think a merger with somebody would be one of their hugest things they could do. One of their smartest things they could do too. Just some small company that has something to offer.
Well, I mean, their most lucrative thing that they can offer right now is their manufacturing power. But no one else really needs that right now. And selling it to another smaller company, they're not going to want to pay for what REM wants to charge for it. And Microsoft, Samsung, HTC, etc., they don't need it. So.
See, I'm interested whether Nokia would be interested in buying them.
That's actually what I was thinking too.
Because Nokia, I mean, so I grew up in Germany, and Nokia is, at least when I lived there, was the largest player by far. And I came over stateside, and it was like, oh, wait, Nokia? Who's that? They make crappy phones.
Yeah.
But, I mean, until December, when my Nokia N900 decided to fry itself, I've had high-end Nokia phones. I've been very happy with them. But they really have not pushed through on the American market.
Yeah, not for smartphones, at least until the Lumia 7 and 8, is it, are coming soon?
Lumina 700, and 800, yeah.
No, Lumia 900.
I worked for Nokia up until 11 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And that was in the U.S., and it was actually going pretty well before I left. Not saying it's my fault, but so I know they've had a pretty alright American presence here for years, but like I said, I haven't been actively involved with them for 11 years now.
Yeah, they have a presence. I think it's just that they're not, the biggest, or they're not the smartphone dealer. They're not the phones that people pine for anymore.
You don't see a lot of marketing on them either.
Yeah.
Right,
they don't market anything.
I don't see the advertisements for them anymore. I don't notice them, and I would notice them if they were out there, but I also don't watch a lot of TV either.
Yeah, if they do, it's kind of like internet advertising or internet marketing, to where it's an ad on the side, and it's not ignored. It's just one of those things that you see every day. So you're just like, it's just an ad, which not the way to get their name out there anymore.
What I had noticed was that mainly Nokia had been aiming their cheaper phones, not non-smartphones, at the market here. So if you go into like T-Mobile or something, they have the lowest end. Some of the lowest end phones are Nokia's, and they don't have any of their flagship phones. I mean, it was held to try to get a Nokia N900 here. It was, I mean, you can't buy it in a store. You had to order it online.
In my opinion, though, like the best marriage would be, this is gonna be off the chart, would be like RIM and Amazon.
Huh. That would be.
Yeah, that would be.
Because Amazon can do the software and RIM can do the device.
Very proven that RIM can do the software.
They can do the software too, but since
for sure, it's so easy for
Amazon.
Well, I mean, I meant Amazon. Amazon can definitely do the software. They've got Android kind of under lock and key, and it was their first try, which is something I cannot say for everyone.
Yeah.
So that would be a good. I think that would be a good possibility for those.
I think whoever Amazon actually gets with, because Amazon could go with a few players at this point. Obviously, not many big ones, but some of the littler guys. I mean, could definitely go with Amazon or partner with Amazon in very interesting ways. So I mean, we could definitely see stuff like that excel and get exciting.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, I really don't want to beat RIM too far into the ground. I mean, we kind of talk about RIM every podcast. In fact, a lot of tech people usually talk about RIM on their podcasts. But do we have any final thoughts on it, or anything of the who we really feel would do well, or just, I don't know, if they're listening, any advice? RIM listens to every podcast on the internet.
I wouldn't expect to see RIM last past 2013, honestly.
Yeah. I see a merger or a sale, one or the other.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Especially if we hear anything about delays.
Grab all their patents.
They do have a lot of patents, too, that people would love to get their hands on, especially in terms of security.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to kick us away from that topic because, like I said, it's kind of been beaten into the ground a lot, and we'll surely come back to it next week if football doesn't get too far into the way. But I'm kind of kicking off of that one and moving on to another one. I kind of wanted to talk about, in a related note to RIM, kind of, battery life in phones. Because the Droid Razr Max on LTE is being proven to be somewhere around an all-day phone, and I don't know who's saying all day, if it's the person that barely checks any emails and barely gets any texts, or if it's like the CEO saying, hey, I'm using this phone as a daily thing. I use it all the time. It runs all day long. Samsung's also promising a similar thing for 2012. How do we think they can do that, or do we think it's even possible?
Well, the Razer Max does have a 3300 milliamp hour battery in them, which is close to double of what most phones have right now. I mean, my Galaxy S2 has, I think, 1600 or 1800 milliamp hours.
The Galaxy Tab Original has the 3000, I believe, and it definitely lasted more than all day. Granted, it didn't have cell towers to look for all day long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely see how that would help. On the other side of things, I'm pretty sure I had an Evo extended battery life that was like a 26, and it barely lasted 2 hours longer than my regular battery. So I mean, is it part of kerneling or building, or what do they need to do? I mean, to make this happen, do we think? I mean, obviously, it's with skins and things, it's kind of hard for us to predict, but just in general.
I mean, large part of it is the display. So if you have a low-power display, I mean, I have a Notion Ink Atom tablet, which has the Pixel Key display on it. Yeah, actually, I'm not a big tablet fan anymore.
Send it over.
It's currently running my temperature sensing unit for my apartment. But it's really awesome. It really does extend the battery life incredibly long. I mean, it uses 200 milliamps to support the screen if you turn off the backlight, versus over a watt usually. So, well, a watt, I mean, that's like...
Does anyone know if certain types of screens use less energy? Like, everybody complains about penthouse screens, but are they an energy reducer or of any sort? Do we know? I actually don't know.
I believe the OLED screens are much more low power because they don't need the backlight, since the screen itself produces light.
Well, I was reading this really cool thing about a product that's being worked on right now, which actually has a thin layer of photo film directly under the display, because the light is actually well, a lot of it's wasted on the sides and then in the back. That actually goes to recharging the battery a little bit. So I'm wondering if I think that's a little bit down the line. But I mean, it's a really cool concept. And I forgot how much it actually does, but still, it's a pretty cool idea.
Power recovery for a lot of things, yeah.
Yeah.
Heat, light, any of that energy should actually be thought of to regain some of that power that's lost.
Yeah. Light would be great. I think heat would be a little bit detrimental to your battery. I mean, I had a solar charger for a while that I was reviewing, and the cord that it came with seems like it was only like 3 feet long. So it's like, if you're in the sun, I mean, you have to be by a window for it to work really well, and then have your phone, I don't know, dangling. But if you were in the sun and it wasn't air conditioned, your phone is also getting the brunt of that heat.
Right, but the dissipation of that heat can be used to generate and recover power too, though.
That's true.
Same thing they do with the cars with the brakes, recovering that energy from heat and friction.
Okay.
It's just that I don't know what physical size limitations are, because in phones you deal with, you want the phone to be a reasonable size too. So
yeah, you don't want to be a monster, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We could go back to the 80s or 70s.
Big giant brick.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
You never know. Things seem to go bigger than smaller, than bigger once more.
Well, I've got a 15-inch screen on my mobile phone now.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
The other thing that's going to make phones a lot more efficient is advances in processing architecture. I mean, if you have, for example, the Tegra 3 processor has a total of 5 cores, one of which is a 500 megahertz, basically a scheduler. So it shuts all the other cores off until they're needed, and everything runs on one 500 megahertz core, and then you have 1.2 gigahertz on each one of the 4 cores to actually do processing, but only on demand.
Yeah, I've heard about that, and that's actually supposed to increase or help battery life quite a bit. So that's really cool.
It does.
That's really cool. Other question I have, or just for the general audience, is will new technologies hurt battery life for a while? Because I mean, we got things like NFC coming out, and I can honestly see NFC doing a lot. I mean, from what I understand, in Europe, they already do a lot. Like you can check into places or just kind of do things with NFC that we aren't adopting yet. And Japan, I think, is doing quite a few of these things as well. With the induction of NFC and things like Wi-Fi Direct, which got really popular, I believe, in ICS. I think it's on the Galaxy S2 as well, and I'm not sure if that's in Europe or just America. But with things like that, is it going to bring us back down for a while, I wonder? Or do you think they're just going to kind of work with it?
I'd say it's like, Bluetooth on your current phone. You turn it off when you're not using it to save the battery. As long as you turn these features off, it's not going to be a big deal.
But should you have to turn those features off?
That's a good question.
That's my big problem. I like to use the features that I like to use. And if I have to turn them on all the time, I mean, I went to pay for something with my Nexus S the other day, and I was having to turn 4G on in order to access just access the web to get the NFC thing to work. So.
But, like,
it took too long, so I paid with my
you
card.
can't get everything. I mean, I like to listen to the radio in the car all the time, so, I don't leave that running all the time. It's going to kill the battery.
No, obviously, yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, like, it's just, like, a different kind of thing. Like, battery for me doesn't really affect me because I have a charger at work.
Everywhere.
I come home, I pop it in the charger. Or I place my phone on my power mat when I have my Droid charge. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me yet, but I think that as the chipsets start coming out and they start being more powerful, like, it's going to cause problems. But then again, it's the chip makers that are the ones that need to be saving most of the energy. I mean, displays will come later, but right now, like, the most immediate way the battery life can be improved is with lower powered chips. I mean, look at Apple with their, like, A4. It's genius. And that's a huge display.
They've done a lot, and there's a lot to it. And it's probably only going to get better. And I mean, they're really going to, I think with the new phone, they'll probably throw a lot of people down into the, like, well, we got 2-day battery now. I mean, if that's possible, or if they end up doing that, a lot of people are going to be more reliant on iPhone. I mean, I keep convincing people to stay around with Android because that's my preference, but for certain people I say, no, you'd be way better with an iPhone. Please go ahead and get that because I know you would enjoy it more.
I mean, coming at this from, like, a marketing perspective, battery life is important to consumers, but, like, it is by no means the number one thing. It's the number one thing for, like, a few people. They care way more about their 4G, about their Wi-Fi. Probably not about NFC yet, but they will. They care more about how sexy the phone is, how big the screen is. That's their number one concern, and the manufacturers know that. So until the consumers start getting angry or, like, start saying that's more and more important to them, I mean, who cares?
And there's nothing to stop you from having a second battery that you carry around, too. I mean,
if
you know you're going to be out, you just swap the battery out and you're back on again. It's just, it's an inconvenience, but if you're going to be out away from where you normally can plug in, then go ahead, throw it in the car, leave it in there, because you have car chargers, you have charging stands that will connect. It's something you can work through.
Yeah.
Not to mention there are also devices now that are solar. So. And there's also one that's powered by water. That was interesting. It was a device where you just put drops of water in it, and it produces electricity. So you can plug it into your phone, and you can be lost anywhere as long as you can put water in it. You'll be good to go.
That'd be really cool.
Well, one of my friends.
I just forgot the name of the device, but it's out there on the internet.
One of my friends who's watching right now, he's chatting me, and he says his name is Alex King. He's a Googler. Y'all should circle him.
Oh, we should invite him if he wants to come in.
Oh. Does he want to come in? Alex, do you want to come in? He's watching. But he says that there's been a huge perspective change about battery life. I mean, if to bring it back up, Mike, you're going to love this. But RAM used to be all about battery life, and kind of look where that got them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's
So-
very true.
Getting
And
back
Alex is
to
going out
that.
to dinner.
Getting back to the NFC stuff, I
Mhm.
found some specs on the power consumption. It's 15 milliamps to read, which is next to nothing really in comparison to like a screen. A screen, you know, if you have a good screen, it uses less than 200 milliamps. So it's really
Oh.
it's really not much power that it's going to consume. So over like an 8-hour day, it's only going to consume about 120 milliamps. So that's nothing on a battery.
And I mean, if people in time will see this, but right now it's not happening. But in time, I'm sure there will be a widget you can flick on or off for your NFC as well. So I
Yeah.
mean, that it really reduces everything then. But like you're saying, you can really keep it on all day and it wouldn't matter at
Yeah.
this point. That's cool. That's really nice because I really like that technology. And I mean, when somebody actually gets going with something on it and actually does something with it, probably when these ISIS payment plans come into play, that's
Yeah.
when we'll really see it take off.
I mean, so I don't know about public transportation wherever you guys are, but I lived in Boston for college, and there all the transit cards are 13.56 megahertz RFID cards. Oh, he left, I guess.
I'm sure him.
You offended him, I guess.
I think he's actually had kind of a weird connection.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, I wouldn't be surprised if people, or if public transportation, since they already have the infrastructure for RFIDs or NFCs in place, that you can just use your cell phone to start paying for mass transit and things, or even reload your cards or whatever.
I can also imagine checking into an airport. So maybe like when they get you at the door for maybe like a pat down or something like that, immediately you can just be like, oh, and by the way, while I'm here, here's my phone. It's got my information on it.
Yeah, well, passports, U.S. passports
Yeah,
now have
passports.
RFIDs in them,
Okay, so that's really cool
which
too.
I'm not sure if it's the same frequency range, but theoretically they could be. Let's see.
I can't imagine it'd be a whole lot to change it over, even if that was the case. It may take a while, but a lot of
Yeah.
companies, a lot of things should go NFC. I mean, I can imagine checking into a classroom. No more, so-and-so, are you here? You know, going from A to Z, finding out if students are there or not.
Yeah,
longer.
NFC is, really, I mean, you'd have to walk up to something and tap it, basically.
I just mean as you go in the door,
Yeah, that's true.
just tap the side of the door, and
Yeah.
as long as you saw the beep, I mean, when I make payments and stuff, it verifies that I've made a payment. I don't see why it wouldn't say you've been checked in.
That's true.
I guess they just have to perfect it though, because if it said I checked in and I'm not showing on the teacher's schedule, that would kind of suck.
Can you use NFC for like a hotel door room or something like that to gain access to
Yes.
Yeah.
an area?
They'd have to wire something along the way, but it'd be cool if the hotel had maybe an app, and then they could send you a code in your email. You'd enter the code into the app, and it would say, you're going to room, blah, blah, blah. Here's all your things. This is everything. I mean, the pool's on this floor. Go here, and you can just enter and access everything with your
Here's a
phone.
local map of stuff you could check out. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things
And
you can do with NFC. I've heard of people... Oh, go ahead.
And the access stores are already on the network anyway because they're sitting down at the desk turning it on with the card readers. So
Yeah, it wouldn't be much of a jump or a leap to think that they'd be able to do something like that.
I guess, do we want to get in the Wii U NFC thing then? While we're on the...
Yeah, I was actually going to jump to that next.
Yeah.
So that's a very good thing to jump to. And we can circle back to mobile if we're feeling still towards it. But yeah, I put it on here just because it was a thing of the week. It's not really something terribly mobile, but the Wii U tablet will be mobile around your house. So I figured we could talk about it. I mean, a lot of people are talking about a lot of what-if statements. It doesn't seem very Nintendo, of Nintendo to do these things, but they're saying, what if the NFC makes it so I could put my phone to my tablet and make a purchase? And it's like, whoa, 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 that doesn't seem Nintendo-like to me, but
Yeah.
right now Nintendo has to take that leap, and I think they know it.
Yeah.
They have to take a dangerous leap. They're behind with the Wii, and it's only gonna sell, casual copies from now on. No more hardcores will be buying the Wii for a game. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, they've got a lot of competition now with just phones in general, just circling back into the realm of phones there, Like
Well, on their home console, I don't feel like they have as much competition, but yeah, for their mobile gaming, in their DS ways, the phones definitely hurt that until the next Mario comes out, because you're never going to see something that's a full-length game on a mobile phone. People just hate that kind of thing. But for sure, for casual gaming, and that's something that Vita and Nintendo, Vita and 3DS are trying to get into really hardcore. It can hurt it. So, but
Yeah.
on the tablet, on the new Wii, we might as well speculate a little bit if you guys are into it at all. I'm a very big Nintendo fan, and I can see a huge future for them with this new gaming console because of what's been kind of rumored. And half of it's being rumored by Nintendo themselves because they had a less than desirable, quarter 3 and 4 due to kind of horrible sales of the 3DS until late quarter 4. So, they've kind of been leaking information slowly to the people and investors to say, hey, our quarter, 1 and 2 of 2012 is going to be, decent. So watch that space, and here's why, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do people think? What are you guys' views and opinions? Are they in trouble like RIM, or do they have another chance for themselves?
I personally think that they have much better chances getting back in the game than RIM because they're in they have their own niche of the market really. They're not in the high power PS3, Xbox 360, ultra cool graphics market. They have games for the sense of the game, not the graphics, and most of them aren't shoot 'em up games and things like that.
Yeah, they've always got a few on tap, but nothing like the big players do.
Yeah.
Even according to go ahead, Carmen.
Most of them are also targeted towards kids rather than the hardcore gaming.
Yeah.
They do have some kind of hold on a different target. A different market.
Even their consoles are kind of cutesy,
They've definitely taken over the PS2's wild market as well, in the sense that when PS2 towards the middle end of its life, they had a bunch of kooky games, just weird off the wall games that were just like, what? It's not a shooter, it's not a puzzle game, it's not a platformer. What is it exactly? And people still couldn't tell you. To this day. But they were fun games, and Nintendo's got quite a few of those. In fact, Nintendo makes a few of those. They've definitely stolen that market and away from PS2, and then taken the child market and pushed it to a new level, to the point where even when the other two try to compete and put family games or child games on their consoles, they just can't quite do it. If Nintendo was still powerful and doing really well, they would have the sales they're still reaching for with the new Wii U market. That's another thing. I just said Wii U and it sounded ugly, like it always does. Have you heard? I don't know if you guys have heard, but they're looking to possibly change that at E3. The name. What do you guys think would be a new good name for the next Nintendo home console that's not Wii U? If you like Wii U, say you like it, and that's cool. But if you had to choose a new name for them, what would it be?
I don't know. Wii reminds me of the Geico commercial. That little pig going down the zip line.
A lot of people made the joke that it was going to be the console you took to your bathroom. It was the Wii. obviously that didn't quite happen, and I mean, a lot of the people making those jokes were the competitors, and they kind of started crying after the sales numbers came in, but, I mean, I personally, I don't know, it seems like we're kind of dead on the water on that one. I prefer the name Super Wii. For one thing, Wii U makes people think there's just a tablet to add to your Wii. That's what I've heard from a lot of people.
You know, going with the Super, like Super Nintendo kind of Super, you know, that would be a very classic move for them. I'm not sure if it would work out for them, but it may get the interest of people that were around for the Super Nintendo and things like that, or at least their attention.
One of our viewers suggested that Nanye, is that how you pronounce it? Nenye would be a good name for it.
Nenya. Yi is for you. That's funny. That'd be like
what you doing? What you doing, Nanya?
Nanya.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think I might call it Max Lee or something like that.
I think I'd probably call it my own name because I just couldn't handle calling it Wii U. I mean, it's like, come over and play my new Wii U. That sounds gross. Or that sounds stupid. It just sounds weird. Other people have thought about going classic with the name and just calling it Nintendo Entertainment System. I mean, just kind of going back to its roots.
It's like NES.
They could always do the Windows thing. It'll just be like Nintendo 7 or something. You know?
That'd be dumb.
That would be terrible.
They did go that way with Mario Kart, and a lot of people are giving them backlash for it.
Or go with colors.
Yeah.
Wii Red or Wii Blue.
That'd be interesting. I think that would cause another problem, though.
Ordering.
That caused the same problem, I think, as that caused the same problem as people thinking it was just a tablet add-on that makes your system more powerful by magic.
Yeah.
That's
we really need to rebrand it as something new.
I think they could either take the Wii name and go somewhere really good with it, or just go away from the Wii name altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks more like an Xbox 360 unless they redesign the actual tower piece. So I mean, it's just there's endless possibilities with this console. I don't think they're heading the way of RIM or even kind of like in the place Nokia is in America, where it's just like, what's a Nokia again? Didn't they make those kind of brick phones that were kind of cool? I mean, in Europe, it's all the rage to have a Nokia, but
I think they're more in trouble with regards to tablets, really, because kids nowadays would be carrying tablets, and that's their market.
The one big problem I think they have is that they're going to have a tablet, but it can't leave the home. Basically, it's
not going to be
it's using Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and NFC to link up to the console in one way or another. I also kind of wonder if they're going to pop out and be like, oh, by the way, everyone, the 3DS has an NFC chip we didn't tell you about. And they're, I mean, people have torn it down, but I believe NFC chips can be really small if you want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, so I believe on the Galaxy Nexus, for example, it's embedded in the back of the battery.
Yeah.
It's wafer thin. I mean, it's really just a coil of wire. That's all it is.
So, I mean, they very well could say, somebody could have torn that thing down and said, oh, that's just for charging induction, maybe. Because they have an IR port on the 3DS. They didn't even talk about until Resident Evil Revelations came out with the new Frankenstick or the boat, whatever you want to call that new thing they've come out that adds an additional nub for controlling. So, I mean, they definitely could come out and be like, yeah, now you can sync your game data or your save files from your Wii U tablet to your 3DS and vice versa. I mean, I could definitely see them doing something like that as well. So, I mean, they've got a lot of potential this year. And, I mean, we don't really know anything until E3. So, I mean, it's kind of...
E3 is in October, right?
No, it's in July, I think.
July.
Yeah, it's usually right around summertime. But we've also got GDC before then, and a few other conferences before then. So they very well could, to save themselves early, they very well could attack it before then and change the name before then and announce some good games before then for the Wii U or the new whatever they're going to call it. So it could be an interesting. I mean, I don't want to speculate too much because I mean sometimes I don't like to speculate when I really know nothing about it. So it kind of sucks in that way. I mean, I really hope they do well, and I really think they have the potential to. They're kind of like Apple quite often, where they can bounce back from things, or make things really interesting again. So, kind of. Excuse me. You guys have any further thoughts on that, or on what they could possibly do?
I was reading the that financial report for the third quarter that you were talking about, and they were mentioning the NFC, and basically they said that they were planning to use it with cards and figures, which I think would be pretty cool, and especially like figures. You were mentioning like E3. Imagine going to E3, getting a figure, you scan it, and you get some sort of like bonus character or something, you know?
Exactly.
I mean imagine something similar to Pokemon. I hate Pokemon, but something along those lines where you can actually interact with the card physically, as in, you know, trading cards or whatever, and then you can use them in the game, and, you know, it has some sort of unique identifier on it, and you can basically trade a character with your friend that you've been playing or working on, or items, like physically, and then they pop up in your game as soon as you swipe the card or something like that.
Yeah. They've also made it easier for something along the lines of Spyro's Skylanders 2 to be a lot easier and not be so expensive, because you have to buy that power pad thing as well, and usually it comes with the game, but it makes the game a bit more expensive. So by just turning the Wii U tablet upside down, they've basically created that power pad port thingy, whatever it's called. So I mean, a game like that, or like you said, Pokemon, you place the tablet upside down, or even right side up in the case of cards. I mean, I wouldn't want to scratch my screen with a figurine, but with a card you could do it in whatever way, and then it appears on the screen, and you guys can just battle or play with the Wii remotes. I mean, just however you want to do that sort of thing. But yeah, there's a lot of things. Another podcast I listened to talked more real world things, where I buy a can of Pepsi or a bottle of Pepsi, and maybe the lid has a card under it, or I mean an NFC tag, and they're running a promotion with Nintendo or something, to where this is a special monster, or this is a special reward, and you just scan it to the. I
think that tablet exactly is going to be what most of the NFC technology is going to be used for. Because you can literally, you have, I mean, putting an RFID in something costs nothing, absolutely nothing. It's a little tiny chip and a little bit of a coil, and you can put it inside of books, you can put it inside of just about anything. And I'm sure that people will be putting them all over stores, all over products.
Yeah.
This may not just be in relation to some sort of Wii or something, but it may also just be for
phones, tablets.
Everything. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bottle cap lid there. I mean,
the top you can easily put one in there.
The top has a layer of plastic on it that's a little bit thicker. I mean, so your liquid obviously doesn't escape. I'm not talking about that little plastic piece inside. There's just obviously a thick layer of plastic. You could just melt it into a bottle cap lid and scan whatever thing, or even, I mean, you could
label.
Yeah, I was gonna say the label. I mean, my label's gone, but yeah, you could do things like that, and that could be all of mobile technology, not just Nintendo, not just
flexible and everything.
Whatever. I mean, the way things are going, if Pepsi developed a game, Pepsi could have their own game, or it would be an encouragement to buy a 12-pack of Pepsi or whatever, because you could scan the box once you own it. I don't know, maybe the tag's somewhere in the middle, so you just can't reach it with your phone. I mean, that would make it too easy. I'd just go to the store and get all the monsters.
Well, someone would build like a giant like receiver or something.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, someone would like cheat.
That's the issue with RFIDs. There's a lot of security issues with RFIDs. That's why it's actually, I would say, a terrible idea that the U.S. passports have high-frequency RFIDs in them, because as soon as you walk through the reader, like say this was, I believe, released at DEF CON or something. I mean, even though they're supposed to be short range, if you pass through the reader, say somebody put a wire coil around a door frame, and you walk through, you can pick up all RFIDs that are in the center of that coil. So credit cards, you know, passports, whatever else you have. And that's, I would say, a big issue. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen these cool, clear plastic, the credit cards from American Express.
Yep.
The blue one?
They have like a blue chip in them. And that is actually an RFID, and a lot of people don't know that. So I
it's
can
not
walk
just
up
a
next
cool,
to you
like,
on the train
design?
and steal your credit card information.
Yeah, if you had an app.
Yeah, well, I don't think it'll work on a phone because I think that's actually different frequencies, but you could very easily build a reader.
Like a scanner, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, a scanner of some sort. Or you could multi-purpose another scanner, I'm sure.
Yes, there's plenty of
Yeah,
money.
it's something that's going to happen, and go, I'm sure slowly, hopefully, to you know, eventually work to the way they need to work. And from what I understand, there's a couple different technologies that are out there coming. I mean, we may pass NFC altogether and go with something else completely. So you just kind of never know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to be? I've said this a lot, and I kind of think I'm right just because of what it is. But what do you think is going to be the defining NFC is here? I feel like it's going to be the iPhone. If the iPhone, or when the iPhone gets NFC, that's when people will really be like, okay, you know, let's start using NFC more. Because I mean, we've got the Nexus S, the Galaxy S2, and the the Galaxy Nexus that all have NFC chips. I mean, plus a slew of BlackBerry phones, laugh out loud, that have it and just don't use it. I mean, people don't use it. I mean, there's apps out there you can get, but it's just not widely used. So what do you think is going to be the big point that's going to bring NFC home?
I think there needs to be some massive advertising campaign or something. Some company needs to get behind NFC and be like, our products now have NFCs in them. Use this and get something awesome. And I don't think it's, I mean, you need the devices that are capable for NFC, and then you need the actual NFC, like the actual RFIDs places, so you can scan them. So if they're not, you know, if they're not everywhere, nobody's going to use them.
Yeah, I see what you mean, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, I just wonder who's going to do it, though. I mean, who's going to have the say to be like, okay, this is happening? Is it a special is it a certain company, do we think? Or is it just going to be just anything?
I
don't know. I would leave it up to a company like Coca-Cola or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's just everywhere and in everyday life.
Interesting, yeah.
Something where people don't have to go out of their way to try it. If it's just like, ooh, I bought this Coke, and wow, I can just use this phone, my brand new phone, and be like, oop, and I have, I don't know, Coca-Cola points or something.
Yeah, I can see that for sure happening. Something along those lines.
Also, how to stop somebody from just walking through the store and holding their phone against the cases of Coke too, you know.
Yeah. That's where you can
definitely like an activation at the cash register, you know, like they do with the phone cards or whatever.
What about NFC for groceries? That's something the average person would do.
So there are RFIDs in many products right now. I mean, the things that prevent you from walking out of the store with a book, that's an RFID. It's just a slightly different frequency.
Yeah, if they could put something on the shelf below the product that I could, you know, scan and, you know, it'll start running a total for you, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Just keep a total going. That'd be really cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What about paying by with PayPass? Isn't that like an NFC thing?
Yeah, it is. But that's a huge security flaw, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
If I go with it. Yeah, if I go and I copy you, if I walk past you and copy your RFID chip, and then go to the store and use your RFID chip, I mean, that was my whole point with American Express and a lot of their users not even knowing that they have one of these chips in their card. They're like, ooh, look at this blue shiny thing inside of my credit card.
Isn't it cool?
And then other people across the world are using their credit card.
Yeah.
Or maybe downloading music through NFC, through other people's phones.
Google showed that a couple of years ago, actually. I don't know if it was NFC technology exactly. But they showed it a couple of years ago where they were saying you could take your favorite CD, and if it's got the correct chip in it, then at your home, you could start listening to music right off your CD player. I was like, oh, that'd be a cool technology. So I mean, that's something that would be relatively safe. I mean, imagine if you use the same thing in your phone, where if Google partnered with the music companies so heavily that it was, put your phone up to the CD and hear a free 30-second sample of all the songs. And they do it already with iTunes.
It establishes a good peer-to-peer connection without just wirelessly, without having to rely on other networks. So, like your phone and another person's phone can communicate with one another, or like any other device, maybe a tablet to tablet.
I've thought about that too, and you'd have to be just very safe about it, and make sure that, like, if I pass you, if it ends up being something like back to Nintendo, they've got the Street Pass technology to where if I pass somebody, we exchange little characters on the 3DS. And same thing with it. You can exchange information, whether it be I can send you something on a game or whatever. And it's basically harmless on that instance because of the way they've built it. But if it exchanged my Google profile with everyone I passed, I mean, that eventually could be a little bit
And you automatically get added to their circles.
I think the automatic adding would be a little bit crazy. But if
that would be cool.
If they were able to share like a limited profile with people, just so it's like, if I NFC pass someone, all they can see is my name and this and that and that.
Or you get put on a queue, or like, these are the people that I can possibly add because they're close to me. Or like, you know, people you pass by the street and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
But that kind of is creepy because that's like a privacy thing.
You know, what I'd love to see is...
Unless you opt into it, like, yeah, sure, here. I'll participate in that. Something like that would be...
What was that, Matthias?
What I would love to see is business cards with NFCs in them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would love to be able to give somebody a blank card and be like, this is my business card.
That'd be quite
that
funny.
is an awesome idea. Maybe we should do that. And start
Well,
it.
I do have...
We have V cards, though, and people don't understand them already.
Complicated.
Yeah.
They're just
At
kind
some
of
point, I got
underused, though.
matchboxes as business cards, but I'm pretty much all out.
That's pretty fun.
Having an RFID in one of these would be awesome.
What
about...
Go ahead.
Like an RFID at like Disneyland or something like that, that they could back something that crazy. I mean, even if it fails, they've still got money, and they'd probably walk away with it learning something.
And I feel like they'd use it in a smart enough way to where it's like, if it's something on your phone, it'd have to be a specific Disneyland app. You'd have to download in order to use it. And maybe it would mean you could do certain things or whatever at Disneyland, but yeah, that'd definitely be
Or
somebody
get like
huge.
a drink or something, or like some food vouchers or something like that.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah,
thing would
free
be
vouchers
children
to the
tickets
park.
at a place like Disney too. You know, like if your child gets separated from you, because Disney's a pretty big place and kids are interested in fast. So you know, that would be something to maybe put into a wristband for a kid. Let the parent know, hey, we've got wristbands for your child. These get you on the rides, but they also will let us locate your child. You know, and then have them sign that authorization or whatever.
Along the lines, if your child gets lost, the person knows, okay, you look separated from the group. Let's scan your wristband at my kiosk, and your parents will automatically be updated that you are at my kiosk.
Oh, that
That'd
would
be
be
really
awesome.
cool.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's an interesting idea because like that's one example where we're treating a person almost as a product. So like where else would we kind of cool for us to do that, to label someone so we could track them down. Like, where else would that be acceptable in society? For tracking down kids, I mean, that's cool, but, like...
You can do that during conferences where you want to network with people. You can have, like, your band and say, okay, this is me, when I know me, and then... I mean, that's a safe environment where you would want to be known by others because you're in the same conference regarding something that you have in common, like technology or So like your name tags would be like your business card at the same time, but it's like, you know, when you go to conferences, you have those name tags, badge IDs.
What about like a run or something, New York Marathon or something like that?
Yeah, those.
That would be awesome too because that would keep track of time.
Or that would work too. See, I'm also thinking of like maybe at Google I/O this year we could see something along those lines, like okay, you know, Eric Schmidt is now taking the stage. You get that notification because he was able to check in via NFC immediately at the stage, as it were.
Yeah. So the Hope Conference, the Hackers of Planet Earth, last year I believe they did have RFIDs in their tags. So they could check in at booths and things like that. And
see, on a private scale, it's definitely interesting. But as we were talking about before, I mean, if it's used as a street pass technology, it'd have to be so limited for people to feel safe.
Well, but to look at it this way, like, I mean, most mass transit systems right now do use RFIDs. They don't use the NFC in the phone, but they could. So you could start just walk up. I mean, in Boston you have, I forget the company name that makes the RFIDs, but it's 13.56 megahertz, and you could talk to it with your phone. So you could, if they put out an app, and you can just be like, well, charge it to my credit card.
That's crazy awesome. That would be. I love the ideas that are coming out. I mean, I've got a couple friends here on Google Plus that are using NFC, just that are small-time developers making silly little apps. I mean, just for fun stuff, and so it's just really interesting to me. I mean, about what could happen in the future, even on the grand scale and on the tiny scale. So.
You could even do like a scavenger hunt with NFCs or something like that.
For sure, you could.
Or you know what, that'd be good for like a college introduction week. See the entire campus by like getting NFC swipes at different spots.
Yeah, they have so the Harvard Museum of Natural History. They have a combination of NFC or RFID tags and QR codes that you can walk around. And kids, I worked on a project, a visualizations project there, and the idea was this wasn't RFIDs, but this was QR codes, and kids could pick up basically a postcard of an animal in the museum, and then go up to a Microsoft Surface table and put the postcard with the QR code on the back down on the table, and it'll bring up the animal, and they can play with it. They can look at the different attributes and stuff. They can put it up on the big screen and things like that. And you know, that would be really easy to implement with RFIDs as well.
When you said that, I think of like when you plug in a car, there's like this 3D. You know, there's movie things where they become like 3D like, and it pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
The wireframe that kind of pops up.
It's really something like that. It gives you all the history on the animal. It gives you whatever you want. I mean, you can implement it at another museum as well, where you have, let's say, airplanes or something.
That was thinking like a hologram. Like a big.
Well, I don't think visualizations has gotten that far yet.
I know.
Like a 30-foot diagonal screen.
We'll work on that next.
It doesn't even have to be holographic per se, but I mean, I've seen things that look like a video or look sort of like it could be a hologram, but it's really just projections.
Or, you know, those things that came out, like I saw today, like the GMC window, we had these interactive activities that you can do while you're in the back seat. So something like that where it pops up.
Those are projected onto the windows.
Yeah, but like that doesn't have to be because you do have membranes that are clear that do emit light though. So they do have the pass-through vision technology to do that. but they are, for their prototypes, they are actually projecting from projectors. Yeah, I saw that demo today. It was pretty awesome. The other thing that it reminded me of is that I don't know how prevalent this is in vehicles overseas, but they were emitting sound from windshields too, and getting stereo sound from windows. So that's kind of like the next step, is to do the audio interaction, or the visual interaction on the screen. And of course, I don't know how they're going to implement that, because once you touch the screen, that'll change the audio, the vibration principle, right? So, but it's definitely a really fun and really imaginative way to put that technology out there.
Yeah.
So Samsung actually has what they call an interactive window display, which is, I believe, an OLED screen with a touch capable. I'm not sure how they do that.
I'm not 100% sure either. They didn't really show the bottom or remove it.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder
it was nicely encased in a wall.
I kind of wonder if it's got like a base that runs all along the bottom, and maybe the base controls a lot of it, and then it just senses touch and motion. Either way, they did some cool stuff. Like, she's like, "Oh, maybe you want the blinds closed." Yeah, the blinds closed. I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I would love to have that.
Wake up and have the hugest alarm clock ever, just ready to wake you up. Doing some cool stuff. Yeah, that's technology we talked about in the previous weeks, because they announced it at CES. But I'm interested to keep talking about it over the next few weeks, just because, you know, if it's something that's real, we're going to see more and more and more about it, more and more and more of what it can do, especially with. Because I think it's Android. Well, I'm pretty sure I believe it's Android based, and then they put some weird skinning on it or whatever. But as Android gets more interesting, we could see this window get way more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's built on some fork of probably like Android 2.0, just because it seems like it'd take a long time to build. I mean, can you imagine what they work it with?
Though? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean. That's true. With like QT or I mean, even with GTK or something, you could throw that together in, I don't know, a couple of weeks. I mean, that's
a good point.
Pretty. I mean, it wasn't very elaborate. They had a couple of widgets on. I think they had a clock. They had a weather gadget. They had a calendar widget.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else, but it wasn't like mind-blowingly awesome visualization. It was just the fact that you can have a window that you can see through and be like, whoop. Now it's a blind.
Yeah, and I guess the fact that I wouldn't really want to play games on it because it's a window, or do too much. I mean, maybe it'd be fun for Angry Birds for the kids if the window is low enough.
It's all about Angry Birds.
Well, or a mirror. Say you wake up. I mean, there was this beautiful concept art, and I forget what the company was, but it was like the Home of the Future or something, and you wake up, you walk into your bathroom, and it greets you, and it's like, these are your appointments today, this is, you know, the weather, the time, I mean, top news stories, there's currently congestion on I-93 or something, avoid this and this route, and it all displays it while you're brushing your teeth, or in the shower.
That would be quite ideal to wake up and see all the news, and read what your day looks like. I mean, forget mobile for that. I mean, you're waking up. I mean, even a 5-inch to 6-inch screen, you're feeling like groggy, like, I don't know if I want to look at all this. But your mirror, I mean, that's right there.
Yeah. Need large type too early in the morning.
I mean, I'm really interested in home automation things, and that's also one of the reasons why there's a temperature control for my house or for my apartment being run off an Android tablet right now.
Is it that new one?
I'm studying the way that my temperature changes by me walking around my apartment and turning on and off the lights and stuff. It's kind of cool because currently I can pinpoint when I get up, when I leave, when most of my activities I can pinpoint by changes in my temperature or in the temperature of the apartment.
Is it that new Leaf technology, was it? Or is it something else?
No, it's something that I built from scratch.
Oh, okay, really cool.
It's, if you can see it, there's a red wire dangling there.
I can.
And it has 3 one-wire interface temperature sensors on it. And it goes down to an Arduino interface in the bottom of that shelf.
I was going to ask you how you are wiring that up. Arduino.
Nice.
And then it talks to over ADB to an Android app that I wrote, and then that starts throwing things into a database, and I got a nice little visualization going on.
Oh, I should add,
Awesome.
there was one person that asked about that last week regarding which I suggested NIST, but then yours sounds much better.
Well, mine is, I mean, it's just something that I've thrown together, and I have a little website up, and it's nothing product ready, but I like to play with a lot of these things.
That's really cool. We have another development podcast that's more towards development. We'll have to have you back on because that sounds like a really cool thing to talk about, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of good discussion. I feel like in a way...
When we get to
Go ahead.
Sorry, when we get to the weather apps, or...
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
we'll
sure.
definitely have you back.
That's really cool. I feel like kind of like we're winding down. We've been into about an hour of it. I kind of wanted to talk about Ruby because I've had some. I mean, I think I know I have questions and quite a few people have answers. And I mean, if people are sticking around this long or jumping in towards the end of the stream, maybe they want to hear about this as well. But I mean, let's talk about, for one, the obvious Ruby client, which is Twitter, and then a less obvious that people probably don't know about as much is joindiaspora.com.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Carm, can you talk about this more? Or, I mean, this is where I am going to completely need your help and you to talk a lot more. And same with Victor as well, as you two are probably the experts. And if the other two of you know anything about it, feel free to share. All I know is that I can tweet and send messages, and it's cool. And it's lightweight from what I've heard, so...
It is.
Please take over.
Well, there are a lot of sites that are built under Ruby, and specifically Ruby and Rails, because it's a very unique framework. There's a huge community behind it. The updates are really fantastic. They just upgraded, well, this is Rails, right? So they just released 2.3 for Rails just last week. Was it? Yeah, that was just last week, but haven't really followed through with what they have, changed. So maybe Victor has more of an idea of that, but we're still on 2.2, so. And it's not like something like if they upgrade, you have to immediately upgrade.
I was going to say, what exactly does that mean? I mean, what has it meant in the past for versioning and changes? Does it make it lighter or easier to use?
Well, generally it's more lightweight, and they do a lot of, even though code already exists, they refactor the code just so that it becomes more. We've had a lot of bashing of Ruby or Rails, or Ruby doesn't scale and stuff like that. So a lot of effort have been done to want to modularize more of the core of the framework itself, so that if you want to use something, you can just add it on top of the framework itself, or the core framework. So that was one. And you can use bring your own database type. If you want to use MySQL, you can use MySQL, or if you want to use MongoDB or what's the other one? The transactional database. Postgres. There we go.
Postgres.
Yeah. So it's like bring your own. It's your choice. So those are one of the cool things, I think. And the community is great just because, if you write a plugin and it's a famous plugin that a lot of people use, that a lot of people stand behind, it becomes part of the core. I think that, for example, I think that also happens for Chrome, but mostly for the security stuff, not really like an extension that becomes a part of the core itself, right? It doesn't really happen that way, but with Ruby and Rails, it happens like that. So you get the street cred of my code went into the core system or something like that, which is amazing for a developer.
What are some sites that people might know about other than the two I named that use Ruby on Rails? I mean, I think people don't realize really what it is. Okay, Hulu's one. What else do we have out there? I mean, let people know. I mean,
a lot. Groupon, social.
Is there a way?
Social living, was it? Is it social?
Is there a way that people would know, like, oh, that's a dead giveaway that it's Ruby, or is there just so many instances of similarities that it's kind of hard to tell?
I actually went out looking for these, and they blend in pretty well from what I've seen. It's not like you get like the .NET framework and you know everything ends in the .asp.x stuff. You know.
Yeah. We use that at work sometimes. So, well, I don't use it. I use the websites that use it. But.
Well, Twitter is the more famous one. Hulu.
Most famous.
A lot of the apps. Scribe. A lot of the apps that the web apps that you see are mostly Ruby and Rails. Shopify.
Yeah, Shopify, GitHub.
GitHub is also.
I think 37 Signals or whatever it's called.
37. Well, the Basecamp.
Yeah.
Lighthouse.
A lot.
Assembler.
And I know Rackspace is also using a lot of Ruby and Rails.
Retometer. Insider pages.
Pivotal Labs, the one that uses that agile tool.
Yeah,
Pivotal Tracker.
Urban Dictionary, supposedly.
Feed it.
Really?
Pivotal is what is I believe Pivotal is helping Diaspora kind of.
Oh yeah, because
figure out what's going on, so they definitely use it.
Sarah May, which is one of the core developers for Diaspora, is part of the Pivotal Tracker. So
exactly, yes.
Yeah. Django, SlideShare, Justin TV, White Pages, and Urban Dictionary.
Wow.
Those are all
what do you mean,
pages
Django? Isn't it Django?
Django.
No, different Django.
Different Django.
Django.com. Yeah, free radio station, internet radio. Yeah.
That's funny.
There
that
was
would
another
be funny if Django
station.
didn't do Django.
I know. It was like great. That's a killer. That was like, alright. It is Python.
So and I mean, what are the main benefits? I mean, obviously in Twitter, sometimes they go down way too much, and sometimes it's Ruby's fault, sometimes it's not. But what are like benefits of you using Ruby, whether it be on mobile or whether it be on web?
Well, I think
it being light.
I think light. Light is the developer, not Ruby, really, because have you looked at Canvas? Last time I looked at Canvas, it was really heavy. It required. So yeah, I mean, Windows could be light if it didn't have all the junk in it, you know. So that kind of falls back on the design principles or the design culture for that application itself. But I think the benefit is now too. You also have Rubinius. You have what is it? REE, JRuby. So you have you have your choices of what virtual machine you want to use. There's a lot of things to think about that you have available depending on, and then you can make your choice and say, hey, I want to use the virtual machine of Java instead of MRI's virtual machine. So you have choices to make, good or bad. You know, you may not know that when you first go in that you have those choices, but pretty shortly after you get involved in Ruby, you start finding that out.
The different staffs that you can use.
Yeah. And of course, going from MRI Ruby, you have a lot of gems that are out there, a lot of packages that you can run, and then when you go, well, wait a second, now I find out that JRuby's out there, that opens up the world of all of those Java libraries that are available. So if you're familiar with Java, then you have that added benefit of already knowing that API, so that might be a good choice, and it's also the speed comments of MRI Ruby versus Rubinius or Java or JRuby. So a lot of things to think about.
That's really cool. I mean, I've noticed a few things that are cool about it, and just utilizing it, and just kind of. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it. I definitely couldn't develop for it, but I mean, for certain things, if I could, I definitely would use it because it seems interesting.
It is better now as opposed to before, where if you started way in 2006, the documentation was horrible. But now there's a lot of screencasts and a lot of good tutorial places out there on the web where you can learn some really good best practices on how to develop your applications. For example, from Ruby Learning is one site that provides free tutorials, and if you're also into Rails, you should also follow railscast.com, and let's see, peepcode.com also provides really great tutorials and screencasts, but those are not free. You would have to purchase them. Along those lines, there's also the one by Greg Polak, which is the Code School. I think it's Code School, right? It is Code School, right? I believe it is Code School.
Sure.
And there's so many places now where you can learn easily as opposed to before. So that's why I think a lot of developers find a good balance with developing apps using Ruby or Ruby on Rails.
The other thing you mentioned about the documentation too, the documentation, once you do learn, feel free to contribute to the documentation, because how you think about things is not necessarily how somebody in the code every day is going to think about it. So the documentation definitely can be improved, and you're welcome to update that documentation and make submits or requests or whatever.
It's on GitHub too, so anybody can submit their changes and just do a request. A request for a poll saying that you've updated it.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the mobile things. I think, I could be wrong, but does Diaspora Mobile also use Ruby? Do we know?
I'm not.
I really like the way their mobile site looks. It's similar to mobile Tumblr, but it looks and feels a lot more functional. It's probably one of the better features Diaspora has going for it right now.
Is that all CSS though? I mean, I don't know.
CSS.
Couldn't even tell you. I mean, it could be. I know the guys for the core of the project are all pretty good at working Ruby or working with Ruby. I mean, a lot of their sites CSS too. So I mean, it could be either way.
I'm sure that the underlying architecture is still Ruby, but I mean, a lot of the display is CSS.
Okay, probably is then.
They might be using like either Backbone or along with that.
I was just wondering if for their mobile web, I mean, it could be really interesting fact to talk about that if it was all that way or all one other way, but where it's not, where it had popularity and then kind of lost a lot of it. It's hard to say because nobody's really been.
Oh, maybe our viewers are not really familiar with what Diaspora is. Diaspora is kind of like Google Plus. It's like a social network, but no company owns it.
I would actually say that Google Plus got a lot, like the whole circles idea came from Diaspora. And I was really big on Diaspora, and I think it's sad that there hasn't been a way how to post from Diaspora directly to Google Plus, because that's how I was communicating with some of my Facebook friends. But
they might be able to do that.
That's their eventual idea with Diaspora. Once it gets running harder and heavier, gets really going, if they ever get to that point, is that basically you wouldn't even need others. Well, you would need other sites, but you'd never have to visit them because it would make a very mutual link. So I don't know if this is still going to happen, but basically they were saying at one point in time, I could see somebody's Facebook feed and then reply to it, or a post they make as long as I'd okayed it, and then they would reply, and I would reply, but I would keep replying inside Diaspora, and they would keep replying inside Facebook, but they would all go to Facebook still. I mean, it was quite innovative of them, and I just haven't seen it actually get there. They've turned it more into something like Facebook or like Google+.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Google+ took a lot of ideas from them, or if they took a lot of ideas from Google+,
Right.
or both.
Which came first, the Google or the
Diaspora was about a year or two ahead of...
Diaspora was first.
No, actually Google Plus was also been out for a year, but it was like internal, so
Internal.
they just
Right.
released it like June. But
Yeah.
they've been working on that like.
But I know a lot of features popped up on Diaspora first. It just makes me wonder if they were having similar ideas to Google, or if they got ideas, or if there was some documentation leaked from one side or the other, to where they were like, let's do this. Because the one thing that really kind of was like, okay, this has to, either they're working for Google secretly, or something weird is happening, because Google did the cards where if you rolled your name over the card, it would show, or their name. If you roll your mouse over their name, it would show their card, and you could do some stuff. Diaspora had that
Right.
like the same day, and it was like, what is going on?
Yeah, but with Diaspora being open source, I mean, what's to stop Google from looking
Exactly.
at
Yeah,
why?
exactly.
So,
It's on GitHub, so.
So
Yeah.
Diaspora was really inspired by Eben Moglen, or whatever the guy's name is, who's really about owning your own data. And his idea was, you have your own social network on your own connection. Therefore, you own everything. You own absolutely everything about it. And this is the idea that I love, because I ran my own Diaspora node for a while, but
Instance.
after a while, that just ended up going down.
And
This-
Google's reply to that was the data liberation.
right.
Yeah.
Diaspora
ran-
was similar.
I ran Imagine That BBS for a few years back in probably 1990 to 1994, and the whole FidoNet and the virtual BBS network and all those little networks that used to run on copper wire telephone and get moved around. It's going back to this is my bulletin board system, so every Diaspora pod is your own, and you get to write your games if you want games on there, your social aspects that you want on there. It's all yours. It's going back to the bulletin boards of the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
So it's an old idea, and I think they're doing good with it, but they've made mistakes.
I feel like it could use a kick in the butt.
It
from
definitely
like
could.
or another team member with a lot of vision, or
Yeah.
just something along those lines. They need to get it finally kick-started the way they need to go. From what I understand, I mean, technically you could build your own client if you could get an app working or something on a tablet. I mean, I don't think phones are capable yet, but you could probably build your own instance on a tablet and run around with it.
Yeah, but the issue is you're going to be streaming all your content directly from your tablet. That's going to kill your data. I mean,
And with
so
all the
If you're
limited-
constantly Wi-Fi though, I mean.
yes. I mean, I have a lot of stuff that's running out of my house. I have a couple servers, and then I have a couple of VPSs, and I'd actually set up a VPS to run it for me. But still, the upkeep of getting it all going and making sure it's up to date, and in the beginning it had a whole bunch of security issues.
It was a
And-
grand idea, really. I mean, that was something somebody was like, yes, we could do this in the future. I mean, it wasn't, you will be able to. It's just that it's like, oh, if you needed to, I mean, or if you really were ambitious with it, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely something that's semi-appealing, I'm sure, to some people.
Yeah. And, I mean,
you're...
I'd love to run my own pod still, but it's too much upkeep, and I mean, I've completely deserted Facebook, and I mean, I like Eben Moglen, and he has a lot of really good ideas, I think, about being able to own everything. I mean, not just the content you post, but also the logs of who accesses your stuff, and being able to take it down immediately. And seeing all the incoming connections and knowing that nobody's going to be selling your information. It's all very... I like the idea behind that, but it's currently
hard to
too much maintenance.
We're not at the point where everybody's going to be running a home server just for fun, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, you could throw something like this on like DDWRT or something if you have a powerful enough router.
It might work for like a university setting.
Yeah, it would.
It might even work for family network or whatever, and having a private way to communicate back and forth to each other in like a Facebook environment or a Google Plus environment, and say, hey kids, especially children, you know, because they want to learn how to do things, and it's really cool. I have an extremely large family, so having everybody that's involved in my family, even first cousins and that whole, because they're starting to have kids too, and having the kids from like 6 years old to 13 that aren't allowed to be out on the private network, and you don't really want them out there, but saying, hey, you guys can go ahead and communicate. This is where you can ask questions about, you know, whatever you want to your family, and get that kind of connectivity out there. So the bulletin board system that kind of emulates is not a big traffic thing. It is something that you could set up with a little bit of networking knowledge, and actually have a VPN set up for that purpose. So there's definitely you know, a reason to have that. And I'm kind of active on that. The thing that I didn't like about it was that I felt like I was tricked, because the join diaspora.com site, it looked like it was the head of the development and stuff. And then I found out that diaspora.com is actually where I should have been, you know, while this was going on, to keep track of it. So when I got the email that says, hey, you've been approved for this membership on that site, I should have actually been on another one, and that should have kind of been clear, you know. So
yeah, there was two. I think a lot of the people have either joined a main core or a secondary core now, though, of team members that were working on it. Because I know Diasp.org is another site, and that guy was doing a lot of development. Trying to remember his name. I can't right now. The guy that did it. I'm pretty sure it was Sean or something. Anyway, he was doing a lot of development and pushing a lot of things, and then he'd push some things to their Git servers for them, so that the main site could be pushed with that, because he was doing things before the main site, before the core team. And I mean, he had things like private messaging and a few other things worked out in a certain way before other people could even do it. So it was really cool, and it's an interesting idea. I mean, based on the concept, that kind of goes along the concept of, what if people really, really liked MySpace, you know, and you know, MySpace just stopped developing, but their code was out there to keep developing. You could basically have your own version of MySpace, an instance going on forever.
Isn't that what games do?
What's that?
Isn't that what games normally do? They just release it and make it open source, and then you can run it in.
Some of them.
But that's just the idea behind Diaspora. I mean, kind of, it's just, you could, I mean, far after this is gone, as long as they don't for some reason take down the code, you could have instances running for a long time. And like we're saying, you could have it with family or groups of friends or study groups.
See, I think
just have it be whatever.
I think one of the issues with Diaspora is convincing regular users, like non-computer science-y, techie people, to try to join this. I mean, I know so many people, and I even know lots of computer science majors. I mean, I'm a computer science major. I have a BS in CS, and almost none of the people that I graduated with wanted to join. I mean, that was something. They were just like, well, it's not going to go anywhere. But that's.
Well, that's like us on Google Plus right now.
Yeah,
there
is not, I don't know, the tendency to not sign up. I don't know where that comes from. I think it's because of the familiarity with Facebook and having your friends there, stuff of the things.
It's that, and it's a whole other. Yeah, it's that, and it's maintaining another account, another username and password, and techie people have an easy way to do that. They have their tools, and so it's nothing for me to add another random password that I don't even know and have access to it. It's not that simple, and you keep telling your non-techie friends, don't use the same password. Well, I'm sorry, they're going to, because they're not familiar with the tools that we use to do things like that. They don't have secure shell keys sitting around. RSA keys or whatever.
But
But
even if it's
the other thing you were talking about earlier was bandwidth, and these bulletin boards were popular working over copper wire with 56K modems late in the game and 300 baud before that, and they are still popular. So the bandwidth shouldn't be an issue for communication for something like Diaspora, because the model is there.
Yeah.
As long as there's no heavy high definition images.
It's the graphics and the videos and
people like very rich content, which does require a lot of bandwidth.
But if you serve those, you serve them out on the internet, and so you link to them. You don't serve that bandwidth directly.
True.
And you know what I'm saying? So the bandwidth still doesn't have to be there. Not on your home server.
That is true. Well, that is exactly the reason why I had set up a VPS for it. But
like a lot of smart sites, they're definitely using CSS for their main page. So, I mean, there's barely any images on the main page. When my connection is going just dirt slow, and it's like, okay, well, right now I can't display images because we're just trying to save you bandwidth. Their whole site usually always pops up. So. It's just not really an image-heavy site. Same thing with Google Plus, though. I mean, there's very few images on the site. Basically,
except for Saturday.
yeah. Well, I just mean the Google Plus actually put in images. In the posting box, it's like the picture, the video, the link, and the places button are images. And really, other than that, the rest of them are just like links with CSS or whatever else. Or just links straight up. So.
I can only imagine how much images Google Plus has accumulated at this point.
Oh, I'm sure they'll tell us eventually.
Yeah, because
Google Plus and Picasa and all those. I mean, it's not just Google Plus. They've been accumulating images for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, with Google Plus and Picasa, be interesting, because I know for a fact. I upload at least one high-res image a day. Since January, and there are a lot of photographers on Google Plus.
Random question: what's the oldest post anybody's ever seen on Google Plus? Oldest post date.
I think it's Vix.
Vix
got one. Post.
I made my first post on like June, either 28th or 29th. I'm pretty sure I could have done it on the 28th, but the app was not working very well, so my oldest post is June 29th, basically saying, so what's this thing all about, or something along those lines. With no replies, no plus ones, no
I've got 3 friends.
Mine was like...
Mike, that was my birthday present from you then.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's crazy was for me was that I was invited to Google Plus by someone from Cambodia.
Really?
Nice.
On like June 30 or June 30 or June 20.
Yeah, I was.
And his first invite was like, your friend wants to hang out with you. I'm like, what? What hang out?
What's a hangout?
What's a hangout? And then I got it on my Gmail, on my email, and then I checked it out. I clicked it. When I clicked it, it signed me up. So I was like, oh, it's this. It's like Facebook, but not really. And it's like Tumblr, but not really. It's like Twitter,
I had a
but not
couple of
really.
friends. I had a couple of friends that were working at Google, so I got one of the first rounds of invites.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to check when my first post was. I'm scrolling down right now. July 20... Wait, no. July...
I wonder who's got bragging rights for that, though. I don't know, slipped through my mind.
It's either Vic or Bradley Horowitz.
I think that's my first. It's in the chat. I mean, anybody that wants to find out the first post can go and find them if they want to, but...
Yeah, it's either one of them announcing that we're live or something like that. I think it's
you can also go to your data center and it tells you when that is, but I don't know how to find that. It should be like for your Google account. It tells you all kinds of statistics about your account. and that's one of them. I noticed it the other day.
Circle Count is one site that provides good statistics on.
Yeah, but this is right inside of your Google account.
Oh, the dashboard.
Yeah, the dashboard.
If you go into the dashboard of your Google account, it provides like how many likes you've done, how many links you have on your profile.
But it doesn't count, I don't think, plus ones of Google Plus, because they don't.
No, just
I don't think
inside.
they do those yet.
There's another site that does. Hold on. I gotta find it.
Social statistics.
Social
but not-
statistics
no,
and
that's not it.
CircleCount.com. CircleCount.com does it as well.
Oh, allmyplus.com. I think that does it. It breaks. There's one of them breaks it down by like videos, graphics, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Yeah.
On My Plus?
Allmyplus.com. It's good if you like statistics, I guess, and maybe if you're in the field of social media a little more.
We all kind of are a little bit, I feel like.
Of everything.
Yeah, so I just pulled it up. So it's got my plus
Oh, yes,
ones,
that's
like
one.
how often stuff. Yeah.
This actually tells me my first post. I remember the site.
That's funny.
I want to revisit it and see what I said. Probably
now
something
we can
about
go hang
lunch.
Yeah. I think a lot of my
first
posts
I'll
post
find
was
out.
oh, wow.
I guess that's
it's
us
loading
coming
very
from
slow.
Facebook, that Facebook mentality, telling everybody, what we're doing.
No, it's just
Yeah.
the Twitter
Or Twitter.
mentality of like,
Yeah.
oh, I got latte or something like that.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't see that on Google Plus yet.
Yes, I've learned like
Yeah.
it's better not to do that here, unless it comes with really awesome pictures.
Yeah, unless something epic happens,
Yeah. Yeah, I have circles dedicated to sharing things like food and like
Yeah,
what
the
I'm
foodie
watching.
circles.
Because my mainstream just doesn't want to see that 90% of the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad for that. I pretty much just post it out there. I use circles to filter incoming stuff, but not really for outgoing that much.
A lot of people
I
do that.
never post on limited. When I I did the same thing. Only when the incoming, when I want to filter it by for example, the people I follow from tech or the foodie circle or the photographers. Then I use the filter. But posting, never.
Getting a lot
It's
better.
always public.
Yeah.
I'm pretty shy. I have 64 original posts, and out of that, I have a total of 50 reshares or 41 reshares of my original posts.
Yeah, but I mean that's good. I mean there are people that make content, and then there are people that distribute this interesting content too.
Well, I don't do a whole lot of distributing either because my total is 78.
All right.
I have 9 more reshares in total than I do. 9 reshares, and I have 41 original reshares of my posts. So yeah, just very small amount. But I have 102 plus ones.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
My plus one is in the 10,000. I know I've read someone saying that they have 30,000 or 40,000 plus ones.
Oh, my email is really bad though. For emails, I have sent mail 23,000 conversations. That's not even individual. That's 23,000 conversations. And
Guys,
then,
I'm gonna have to drop off pretty soon.
That's
Chat
why I was actually
history.
thinking about wrapping up pretty
Yeah.
soon. So that's kind
Chat
of.
history is 3,000. It's
We've been into
ridiculous.
we're hitting the hour and past mark, hour and
Yeah.
a half. So
We're trying to keep it an hour and a half.
I think we're about at that mark now, about an hour and a half, a little over that. So I
Yeah.
think we will wrap up. By wrapping up, basically we've kind of hit all the topics we wanted to hit, so that's been really cool. And I've enjoyed having you all. Had a lot of good conversation. We've got a few good comments on the show, so I'm really happy that people are commenting. Basically,
Yes.
to wrap up, just kind of say your names as in the order you appear on my screen, which would be Matthias first. Kind of let us know who you are once more for people that maybe weren't watching at the beginning or whatever it may be, and just kind of what you do,
Sure. Well, I am Matthias Lee, and I'm a grad student in computer science at Johns Hopkins University. And I'm, well, a techie in just about anything, but I specialize on parallel processing, high-performance computing. I do a lot of random projects, from temperature sensors to home automation to building CNC milling machines.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay, well, and we'll definitely, like we said, have you back on another show for the kind of custom apps if we get into that again.
Sounds good.
And that goes to all of you. You're all welcome back. But next would be Steven. I still messed it up.
All right.
Crap! Spent an hour and a half with someone. You still can't get their name right.
Yeah, I'm not really doing much these days. Just slacking off on Google.
So circle him on Google if you've enjoyed his.
Yeah, or if you like Star Trek and Doctor Who and Star Wars.
And I do. So that's wonderful.
And yeah, I do too. So.
And finally, Victor, if you want to say a few more words about yourself or anything you didn't say the first time.
Yeah, I've made sure my mic's on here. I've been busy with Ruby Learning. We just opened up the programming for the web with Ruby and have 1,200 participants in there right now, today.
Wow.
And that's covering 60 countries, so we're pretty happy about that.
And as far as I know, it is free, correct?
And that is a free course, yes.
Yes, so if
And,
you are
so-
interested, it doesn't require to have any programming background, so it's cool. I do think you need some background in Ruby. Is that what?
Yeah, I think, well, we cover a wide variety of things. So we cover some Rack, some Git, some HTML5, some CSS, just an array of things. And it's a lot of the things that you're going to require as a developer to do the things that you're going to do in a web environment. So. And it's going to be a wide range of things, and it's going to be lightly covered. And it actually opens up on it was supposed to open up the 20th of February, but with 1,200 people kind of getting after us, can we open it up now? We've been opening it up slowly, so there's still plenty of time. We're still working on the content, so we're still looking for feedback too.
That's great.
So it's a good time to hop in and just get involved.
Are you also still looking for mentors, or are you good with the mentor?
We always look for mentors. So yeah.
Awesome. So if you want to help them out with that, go ahead and
It's
contact him.
rubylearning.com. Yep.
Perfect.
And of course my link here, if you can link on me here.
Yeah, I think we can provide the link later after
We should be
the
able to
show.
on the show notes and on the YouTube because it's recorded. So.
And
That's
thank
awesome.
you. And I'm Carmeline Thompson. I'm a web developer since for a long time now. And I'm always here on Google+. I actually have a virtual office, kind of.
I can definitely vouch for that. For her.
Yeah, like
Virtually
I
contact
use
her a lot.
a lot of the Google products, like Google Docs and pretty much everything. Gmail.
Been awesome. So.
Cool.
And I'm Mike, and I'm just mobile enthusiast. So if you have any mobile questions, feel free to contact me, and I can help you out possibly. I don't know Apple so well, so if you're coming to me for Apple questions, I'm not really the guy, but I can definitely redirect you to some friends. So
Yeah, we're
Well,
going
thank
to
you
do
for,
more reviews too with devices and tablets.
Yeah.
So
expect
I can look into
reviews
that.
on the show, and if there's anybody
Live
listening
reviews.
that can help us with some reviews of products, that'd be great. Or if you
Maybe
see this
broadcast live.
post haste in YouTube, please contact us on that regard too.
Yeah. Oh, and
And that-
thank you. Sorry. Go.
Yeah, thank you all. It's been awesome. So
Yeah.
that'll
Thank
be
you,
our
guys.
show.
Enjoyed it.
Thank
Very
you for
much.
joining us, and
Good
thank
discussion.
you to the viewers for commenting. Comments are wonderful, and we really appreciate your comments. So if you have any comments, just post away. And also, we're looking for feedback regarding the show. So
Yeah, is it
Post
too
that
long?
too.
Is it not long enough? Let us know.
like you guys are too boring or something like that. That's okay. We will take
We'll
any
put some
feedback.
cats in.
Put some cats in. Or
Okay, guys,
Oh,
I gotta
but-
head out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Bye.
before we finally end the broadcast. Next week will be about sports apps and sports on mobile. So we're trying to prepare everybody for like the Super Bowl thing using your mobile. So watch out for that. So.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Night all.